Alright, you guys, today we're going to be learning about box and whisker plots. So our box and whisker, we have a figure that shows the min, max, median, and the quartiles of a data set. And this is also called the 5-number summary. So the 5-number summary is the min, your quartile 1, your median, quartile 2, the median and the quartile 2 actually have the same meaning. That means the same thing. Your quartile 3 and your max. We will be going through all of these, you guys. So then you have your 4 quartiles, and that basically it splits it into quarters. So think of it as you are, no matter where these values are, from here to here, you have 25% of your data, and then from here to here, you also have 25% of your data. It's again splitting it into quarters, four quarters. And then your next one, so even though these distances are smaller than the other, then it still is actually 25%, even though they look different. And then our last one from here to here is all 25%. So no matter what, they are all 25% of the data. It's splitting our entire box and whisker plot into 4 quarters. Then we have our steps on how to actually calculate this. So we're going to determine the median. As our step 1, determine the median of the lower and upper halves. Once we've found that, we can then determine our min and our max. And then we're going to create a number line that determines the scale. And we're going to draw a line at each of the 5-number summary values and connect those lines, making a box and whisker plot. So what this means, so if we, each of these values represent, this is the mean, this is the quartile 1, I'm going to abbreviate it like that, this is your median, or also known as your quartile 2, this is your quartile 3, and your max. So the way we would find this would be number 1, you would then find your quartile 1 and 2 of the upper and lower half, and then you would know your max and your min. Your max and your min you can also find out before and after also. As your first steps with your median. Okay, so we're actually going to go ahead and identify our 5-number summary and make a box and whisker plot using these examples. So luckily our data values are listed from least to greatest, because in order to do that, in order to find the median, you have to have least to greatest. So I'm going to go ahead and determine the median first by crossing out one by one, and then once we get to the center, I see that I have 4 here and 4 here, so I have to stop. I have 2 numbers in the center, so in order to determine this median, I now need to add 5 and 6 and divide by 2. So I get 11 divided by 2, we get 10.5. So that is the median. Then I am now going to determine, since we have 2 data values in the middle, we are now going to figure out the quartile 1 by eliminating the values from just the lower half. This is my lower half below my median, and then my upper half will be above that 6. So I'm going to keep eliminating until I get to the center, and I find out that my quartile 1 is going to be 3. Now I'm going to find the median of the upper half, so above the median. I'm going to cross out values until I get to the center again, which leaves me with 6, so my quartile 3 is now 6. And then the only thing left that we need to determine is our min and our max. So our min is 1, our max is 10. So those are our values there. So now we are going to actually draw a box and whisker plot and do our number line. So our next step is our number line. This is just 1 through 10, so I'm going to go ahead and just calculate them 1 through 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, and our next step is to actually put the dash marks at each of those values. So our min is at 1. We could even color coordinate them like we have them. So 1, and 10 is our max. Then we had our quartile 3, which was at, quartile 1, which is at 3, our quartile 3, which is at 6, and our median, which was at 10.5. So if we go to 10.5, oh sorry, it's not 10.5. That's That's funny. Okay, so if we actually take half of this, it should be a 5.5 and not a 10.5. I just realized what I did there. So good, I caught the mistake before we actually graphed it, as we're trying to figure out the median should be in between your quartile 1 and your quartile 3. So this should actually be 5.5. Okay, so our median is at 5.5, so it should be between our blue and our green line. So now in order to draw your box and whisker plot, the whiskers are from your min to your quartile 1 and your max to your quartile 3. And then you are from your box is actually from quartile 1 to quartile 3. And that's our box and whisker. If you guys follow up on questions, I said like what percentage of data would be between quartile 1 and your median. It'd actually be 50% because you have your 25% here and 25% here, making it 50%. So remember, these are all 25% here, each of these sections, even though the distances are not equal. All right, the interquartile range, the IQR, this measures how much a data set varies. It also represents the middle 50% of your actual data because you're going to be taking your quartile 3 minus your quartile 1. So that the interquartile range is actually calculated by the upper quartile, quartile 3, minus the lower quartile of quartile 1. And that's how you are going to be determining your actual IQR. So those are your steps. You're going to find the median first. Then you're going to find the upper quartile and the lower quartile, and you'll subtract Q1 from Q3, so meaning you would do Q3 minus Q1, and that would equal your IQR. Okay, so now let's actually figure out that as well for this example. So our step we see is it says find the median, and then we're going to find our Q1 and our Q3. So median first, just keep crossing out until I get to those values, the middle values. This time I see I have a 5 and a 7. We're going to take 5 plus 7, divide by 2. So now I get 12 divided by 2 equals 6. So that is our median. And then now I'm going to determine the the upper quartile first. Again, I have 2 numbers, so I have to include it. If you guys only had 1 number, you would not include it when you're crossing it off. So my quartile 3 is equal to 9. Now I need to determine my lower half here. So I'm going to cross these out until I get to the center, which is 2. So my quartile 1 is equal to 2. Okay, so in order to determine my IQR, you guys have to find the median even though we're not going to be using that information, but your quartile 3 and your quartile 1 are the values I'm actually looking for. So again, that formula was Q3 minus Q1, quartile 3 minus quartile 1, quartile 3 minus quartile 1. And if I plug in those values, I see that I have 9 minus 6, and I get 3. So my IQR is actually 3. All right, you guys, that is it for this set of notes. I will see you in class.